Aries. I will now be laying out a few more cards to have a look at this connection in a little bit more detail. So first we'll start off with the basis of this connection. What is bringing the two of you together? Perhaps like the central theme of this connection. And then we'll look at the strengths and areas of challenge. So let's see what comes up in the cards here. Okay, inner voice. That's quite beautiful, Aries. You do have a number 1 here, and this is very powerful. So a new beginning or a fresh slate of some kind. So straight away, this points to quite a strong beginning. What's bringing the both of you together is that internally, values, intuition, you're actually being guided to each other. So it's actually that inner voice, that higher realm, spirit, call it what you will, a higher power that's actually bringing the two of you together. But the inner voice, it's almost like you're subconsciously going to be drawn to this person and vice versa. They will subconsciously be drawn to you. And this is very powerful, but because I feel like it's almost like fate or God, or it's almost like this higher power is actually in favor of this person. So I sense that there may be some very interesting circumstances, like this person will continue to pop back up for you, Aries. And I think there's a reason why. I really do. Nonetheless, let's have a look at strengths of this connection and see what comes up around the both of you. Okay, judgment has come up twice, so it can be one of your strong points. So it really depends what you do with that judgment, Aries. But look, judgment can point to karma. It can point to things like family and building family. So I feel like your values, maybe with raising children, having children, integrating families, I think they stand very strongly. Maybe where you stand on raising a family, children, and laying down roots. So I'm straight away thinking that that's going to be a strong point for you. But also the relationships you have with this person's friends and family members. I feel like you'll be welcomed in to the family, so I think that's a good sign. I think that's a positive reflection of the influence you're going to have on that person, and of course the influence they're going to have on you. So it could be there's a lot of acceptance with the judgment card here, which I really love, but it is about waking up to things. They emerge from the coffins here, so I feel like there's a very potent message of coming out of this slumber. And I think a lot of parts of yourselves are going to be unlocked through these relationships. Now, maybe this is childhood dreams. Maybe this is the inner voice, the inner self. But I feel like this person is going to help awaken that. And vice versa. They could be doing that to you, because the Empress speaks of unprecedented growth. And she makes everything happen so effortlessly around her. The grass doesn't strain to grow. We see the barley rising up, the lavish water, the lavish robes. It's a highly spiritual card. It's a major arcana card. And I feel like with the Empress, I feel like this can point to a lot of external attraction and things of that nature. But she's also representative of things that are more internal. And I think it's to do with growth and fertility and planting new seeds. So I feel like you'll want to grow together. If something isn't to your liking, Aries, or it's not to their likings, I feel like you're willing to sort of meet halfway. I definitely feel there's a lot to do with compromise and sacrifice, and that's evidenced with the Three of Pentacles. You can see the Merchant, the Court Gesture, and the Monk actually all, they're from very, very different walks of life, but they make it work. They're at this sort of pillar which symbolizes strength, an archway, a doorway. Again, that doorway is popped up here with the Judgment card. So I feel for a lot of you seeing these cards, I think there's a lot to do with opening the doors. There's a lot of possibility around this relationship. And I think the strength here lies in the fact that sacrifices and negotiations will need to be made. But I think you're willing to do them, Aries. I don't know if you might not have been before. You might have been stubborn, or maybe you weren't willing to do a lot for that person. But I think this time around in this relationship, that could be a game changer, is the amount you're willing to sacrifice or compromise or sort of negotiate and talk about things. This is an openness. It's open-mindedness. And I think that's going to definitely be a strength here for the both of you when you come together in this relationship. I do feel it's also trust, and maintaining identity. The identity of these people is maintained here through their costumes. So I feel like you're not really going to lose yourself in this person, Aries. I think that's a very common thing, actually, when people get involved in relationships. You know, it's only natural to lose a part of ourselves, I guess, in this person. But too often people lose their whole identity and are so dependent on this other person, and it creates that burdensome energy. But I don't think that's happening here for you, okay? Let's have a look at areas of challenge. Okay, sometimes the Ten of Wands can indicate one person doing a lot of the hard work or carrying a lot. And Wands can be you, Aries. I mean, this person might be a fire sign too. However, you know, you've got Sagittarius here with the Temperance card. So look, I don't think it's deterministic just because the Wands have come up that it's all going to be you. I think time will tell when you come together to this relationship, and you'll really see what role you are playing and what role your partner is taking on. But nonetheless, the Ten of Wands can be, it's almost like dumping a lot on the other person. You know, it could be pressure or pacing, because pacing, he's very slow and steady because he's got something heavy, he's got something to work with. When the Knight is excited, he feels like free, he just wants to tackle it, he wants to get in there. So I think especially more in the beginning, when you start to form this relationship, you're going to see a line drawn in the sand where one of you is definitely treading more cautiously. The other is or has the excitement of the Knight of Wands. And there's a strong thing to do with patience here. But it's also, if I see all these cards and I read them together, I think it's inconsistency, Aries. And that could be difficult. The Ten of Wands is slower. The Knight of Wands is more impulsive. And then the Temperance here reminds us to be patient and have a moderateness in each situation. So this makes me think there's some inconsistencies in the relationship, okay? And you're going to have to work on inconsistencies. That might be one of the issues here. I don't know if it's distance. The Knight of Wands is often seen as a traveler. He does have a bit of an unsettled energy to him. So I think there's someone who might, you know, as much as I said they might like routine and things, I don't know. I think they fear this in a way. And if it's not them, Aries, it could be you. It could be you fearing these things, because not that the Knight of Wands is fearing these things. He's not. But he doesn't stay in a place for too long. And that's why I think he's somewhat unsettled. So I don't know if this is mundaneness or repetition. I mean, that could be not so good for the relationship, maybe for some of you. Really depends on what this person is used to and what they like. And of course, I know you need variety and you need those things. So it might be something that you end up struggling with, Aries. But you do have the Temperance card here, and the Temperance card is honesty and straightforwardness. But because we're reading it in a context of challenge, so for example, it would probably be the equivalent of reading these cards reversed in a way. I feel like with the Temperance card here, this is a bit of dishonesty. So, or impatience. Or it's not deception in a way. It's more that avoidance or waiting too long to reveal what you want or what you're happy with or where the problems lie or what doesn't sit well with you. I think it's these things that are coming up that could be challenging for you, because the angel here tries to mediate. And you know, angels have come up around you a couple times around this relationship, but angels are intermediaries, they're messengers. And I feel like with the Temperance card here, it's something to do with communication. I think it's avoidance of communication. And I think that's something that you're going to have to sort of keep an eye out on when the two of you do connect in this relationship. But look, I do hope this reading has helped you out and given you a little bit of more insight, Aries, into this connection.